Hastings.
Thank you, Acting Speaker. I'm happy to rise to speak on the Education and Training Reform Amendment Land Powers Bill of 2023. My head's about to explode. I've been sitting here for most of the afternoon listening to an incredibly wide-ranging debate, and probably far too wide-ranging in my small opinion. I listened to the member for Eildon who started off by saying not many people on this side of the chamber are actually talking about what the bill is. Well, I'm going to break that mould and hopefully talk about what the bill is before then branching off and going slightly wide. I would also like to say the member for South Bowen very eloquently painted the picture of why we need this bill and how it will positively contribute to our society, our community, and obviously our children. So this bill amends the Education and Training Reform Act of 2006 to make further provisions for the acquisition, use and development of land to support the expansion of the Best Start, Best Life early childhood reforms. Fantastic reforms. A lot of people have spoken about them and I will mention them again later on. This bill ensures that we can acquire and develop land to provide early childhood education and care, and strengthens the importance of early childhood education and the state's role in supporting its provision. A lot of people have talked about the fact that we're not building enough kindergartens, or there's not enough kindergartens in the community, and we all agree with that. We all want to build more, but this bill isn't about that. This bill isn't the golden bullet that's going to do that. This bill, once passed, will enable the minister, if need be, immediately to acquire land to build a kindergarten. That's the point of this bill. So I'd like to focus on that. As it stands now, the Education and Training Reform Act 2006 provides for the acquisition, use and development of the land by the state for the purpose of early childhood education and associated services. However, the current Act limits these bills for the purpose of school-based education, vocational education and training and higher education, and where the land for preschool programs can only be acquired by agreement. There are various changes to the clauses and indeed to many separate subsections within the 2006 Act, but the main purpose of the changes is to provide that an additional purpose of the Act is the acquisition, use and development of land required for the purposes of the Act. The 2006 Act currently contains certain powers for land acquisition, development and use. However, the 2023 bill expands those powers. Now, one of the new additions in the 2006 Act is to make explicit that the Act makes provision for early childhood education and care and services associated with early childhood education and care. Now, the current 2006 Act focuses on school and post-school education and training with limited provision for the early childhood education. This bill will therefore expand the state's power to acquire and develop land or to take on or grant other interests in land for the purpose of providing early childhood education and care and other associated services. It is an enabling piece of legislation that will give the minister powers to acquire land and or to lease land to build the kindergartens and early learning centres that the communities right across our state need and that many in this chamber have said they want. To that end, there are many amendments and additional definitions to the 2006 Act, such as early childhood education and care, which means education and care provided by an education and care service other than education and care provided by a family daycare service or education and care provided by any other prescribed education and care. Another new definition is for kindergarten program, which means an educational program delivered by a registered early childhood teacher as part of an education and care service to any child who is or of over the age of 3 years old and under the age of 6 years old in the year that the child takes part in the program. And the definition of preschool program is now repealed, and this is an important fact. In fact, the term preschool program is replaced by the term kindergarten program throughout the 2023 bill. Now, replacing preschool program with kindergarten program seeks to ensure that there will be no confusion between the use of the term preschool program in the education and care services of national law, Victoria, and the term preschool program in the 2006 Act, noting the term is currently defined differently in both pieces of legislation. Now, the new definition of kindergarten program is better tailored to contemporary early childhood education programs offered in the 2 years before school in Victoria than the existing definition of the preschool program. And these changes better define what can constitute a service associated with early childhood education and care, and provide more flexibility around those services. This also gives the Minister the ability to acquire land when need be, by clarifying all these points. I also note that the clause 6 amends section 1.2.1 of the 2006 Act by inserting 2 new principles, and I love my principles, and clarifies that these principles apply to the 2006 Act as amended. Now, they are that access to education during early childhood is important for the well-being of children and their families, and that all Victorians, irrespective of where they live or their social and economic status, should have access to education during early childhood. Now, these principles represent the Labor government's ongoing commitment to early childhood education, which of course brings me to the Best Start, Best Life, which really is what this bill is all about. Now, giving a child the best start to their best life is all that a parent can hope and dream for, and that is exactly what this government has done and is doing. We're investing over $14 billion to give children a host of opportunities and programs that will ensure kids aren't left behind, ensuring that every child has access to early education, no matter who their parents are or how much they earn. Now, I know some people in this place think $14 million is an enormous amount of money, and it is. However, surely we can all agree that providing children with increased educational opportunities, greater access to kinder, and providing a skilled workforce to teach our children is 100% and absolutely worth it. Evidence has shown that investment in early childhood education has incredible benefits, not just socially, but economically as well. To put things in perspective, and others have already mentioned this, for every $1 that is put towards early childhood education, society benefits by receiving $2 back over a child's life. This through high productivity and ability to earn more whilst reducing government spending on things like health, crime and welfare. Because when you provide better options for positive outcomes, you get positive outcomes. This is why this government's continued reforms will benefit Victoria for decades to come. Now, a lot of people have already talked about these points, and I really won't go through it, but I will mention we've got our free kinder, which is an amazing thing. We've got our pre-prep, which starts for by 30 hours a week by 2032. We've got our 3-year-old kindergarten. We've got our early learning centres and establishing 50 government-owned and operated early learning centres, kindergarten infrastructure, kindergarten workforce. This government has listened and is doing what matters. As mentioned previously, this bill is seeking to allow the Minister to acquire land so that the government can co-locate early childhood services at kindergartens and schools to help parents by eliminating the drop-off and by providing an easily accessible streamlined service that requires less travel to access for the community. Reassuringly, all efforts will be made to ensure that these new facilities will be situated on government school sites, government land or partner land before we seek out acquiring land. It's the government's intention to centralise early education places and associated services such as maternal and child health practices where they're best suited, at kindergartens where parents already will be dropping off their kids. As an example of need, in Tybe there's a new housing development that's just finished, and over 150 houses have been built and those people have moved in. There will be another development starting soon with another 150 houses. In all, in a couple of years' time, we could have 300 families with kids all wanting to go to a kindergarten. We don't have one that will accommodate that. If need be, this bill will assure all of those children will have the access to the education they deserve. That is the point of this bill. I commend the bill to the House.